Well, turning now to another big story making news. The White House is defending the National Security Agency following a report it secretly collected the phone records of millions of Verizon customers. The Obama administration calling this, quote, a critical tool in protecting the nation from terrorist threats, even though the information was said to be collected in bulk, targeting citizens who were not accused of any wrongdoing. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is joining us now live with more on all this from Washington. Catherine?
Well, thank you, Uma. The court order first obtained by The Guardian, a British newspaper, shows that the FBI and the National Security Agency were given sweeping authority to collect the phone records from Verizon of all Americans inside the U.S. who used the service over a 3-month period beginning in mid-April. And the order reads in part, quote, all call detail records or metadata created by Verizon for communications, 1, between the United States and abroad, or 2, wholly within the United States, including local telephone calls. The court order allows for the collection of this so-called metadata. That's the phone logs, the length of calls, even the geographic location of the caller can be tracked through transmitter cell towers. And when this information is analyzed, critics say it can be far more intrusive than actually listening in on the contents of the calls, because metadata can track your personal movements and your own social network. This morning on Capitol Hill, a short time ago, head and ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee telling reporters that they believe the phone record collection is lawful, has been briefed to Congress, and that this, in fact, is what's called a rolling order, meaning the collection program has been in existence for some time.
This is nothing particularly new. This has been going on for 7 years.
It's renewed every 3 months. They must go into court, and this is that renewal.
Given confirmation by the senators that the collection has been going on for years, this raises questions over the accuracy of statements to Congress about the collection of data on U.S. citizens by the National Security Agency, whose focus is supposed to be overseas intelligence gathering.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
And a recent Fox News investigation pushed the head of the National Security Agency, or NSA, to explain whether the agency would hold the records of American citizens, including phone records. At the time, the idea was dismissed as inconsistent with the NSA's mandate.
We don't hold data on U.S. citizens. Let me go back to the mission that NSA does. Foreign intelligence, with a focus on counterterrorism. That's our mission, is to protect this country from things like 9/11.
Today, in a message to employees, Verizon has said that it could not comment on the court documents in the British newspaper, but it did add that it's legally required to follow court orders and to provide customer information to the government. Sprint had no comment for Fox, and we're in the process of determining whether other U.S. phone carriers were subject to the same order. But based on what we heard from the head and the ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, it does appear that this was much broader than Verizon and did involve other phone carriers inside the U.S., and that this was not a one-time deal, that this has been going on, according to one member, for 7 years. Back to you.
This raises all kinds of questions, and we're talking about millions and millions of customers, Catherine.
That's correct, and people who are for which there would be no probable cause for any of these searches, which is clearly a constitutional issue.
Indeed. All right, Catherine Harris, thank you very much for updating us on this story.